take notes because I don't see the secretary. Roll call, approval of agenda. Guess we'll do that for formality's sake, although again, we don't have a quorum. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda as it stands?
We can do it by consensus.
We
It
can.
works better that way, yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
Are you all in agreement to move forward with the agenda as it stands?
Yep.
Yes.
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 Wonderful. Consensus. Thank you. Next, we would normally have on agenda executive committee updates. I think the biggest update to provide on behalf of the executive committee is that they met to review the 3 responses to the RFP that we put out for a high-level engineering study. There were responses from Finley, CTC, and one other one. If you give me just a second, I will pull that up for you. In theory, just give me a moment. But after review, decided to move forward with Finley's proposal. I'm having issues accessing all my files right now. I apologize. It was decided to move forward with Finley in particular because of the comprehensive pricing. Engineering, which also included a site visit. And their proposal didn't leave room for potential incremental expenses. It was all inclusive and did address our.
It was Fibersmith, I think was the other one.
Thank you. Yes, it was. So we're grateful for all the responses we did receive, but did decide to move forward with Finley. Chris, thank you for being on the call. Can you think of any other updates or discussions that the executive committee had that we should notify the rest of the board about?
No, I think, you know, we went through those proposals and each had an opinion on it. And I think it was rather obvious, you know, which one kind of came through as a clear winner.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, other than that, I think you pretty much covered it.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris, for the help on that one. That's good. Next, there aren't any other questions, or I guess any questions. Grant updates. We are on pause with the Broadband Innovation Grant final deliverable, which is the business plan, until we get the high-level engineering study. So we are moving towards that, even if an indirect route through the funding awarded with H315. That contract for the grant award was signed this week. So we'll hopefully be able to move forward with particular items that were outlined in that grant application soon. We do need to sign a contract with Finley. The lead consultant there, Mark Merla, that I've been in touch with, was on vacation last week. So hopefully we'll get in touch this week to plan for next week to get some of that going. One other thing that's come up with H315 are understandable but additional requirements for finance controls and grant monitoring to keep in conformance with federal standards. The RRPC doesn't have the bandwidth at this time to financially administer and monitor another grant. So we are on the hunt for a bookkeeper who has grant management experience. Rob Fish had sent out to OCCUD a suggestion for an organization. I did reach out to them to see if they do bookkeeping in addition to having any grant management experience. I haven't heard back. So if anyone knows of a bookkeeper or accountant that has some experience with grant management, we are all ears. And I need that soon, actually. So I'll be actively hunting for that. Other grant updates, there's still no word on H360 funding. We don't know when that will be coming down the pipeline. Oh, just to clarify, while Jackie is a volunteer for Otter Creek CUD and the bookkeeper for the town of Brandon, she didn't really feel she had capacity at this time to administer the grant. So she can support in some ways, but it just sounded with the monthly reporting that it might be too much of an ask at this time. So that's another part of the reason that we're on the lookout. But we might be able to beg and plead if nothing comes up in time. We'll see. Again, H360 funding, while approved of, is still, there's still no horizon yet when that's going to be coming down the pipeline. Personally, that's okay. I would like to have more control or understanding of the trajectory of H315 funding for us before we write yet another application, which we will do as soon as it's available. Some of you might have heard about the NTIA funding opportunity as a federal level funding opportunity. While as a region, we might be able to apply, being that we do not yet have a high-level engineering study, nor have we identified or entered into a public-private partnership yet. We aren't seen necessarily as competitive candidates, and we've been advised that there are so many people that are applying, or organizations or locales that are applying. It would be a lot of pain for not the best standing to start on. And I don't want you to feel like we're missing out on a lot. We are doing as much as we can, as fast as we can. But some of the CUDs started either significantly earlier in terms of years, such as EC Fiber, or other CUDs started off at the beginning of 2020, or they have employees and they've been working at a very different pace. So we're doing as well as we can, considering. We'll also see how the other CUDs fare, because again, that's national. It's not just unique to Vermont, and it is very, very competitive. But otherwise, in the meantime, we're just keeping an eye out for H360 funding. Any questions?
Yeah, Amanda, this is Larry. Rob Fish stated today that all the CUDs have grant agreements, and he's looking for proof of insurance, and then he needs a work plan, which you're probably already aware of, but that was his statement.
Yeah, we're working through insurance right now with Telcom Insurance Group, which has insured the other CUDs. I've been filling out their application material and sourcing the documents they need, and which I'll hopefully have the last bit of the documents needed tomorrow. So we've been working through that process for the last month. So hopefully by Friday, we'll be in underwriting. As the work plan just means I'll be resending them our grant application, which has a work plan in it. But that's actually a perfect segue. Larry, next, if no one else has questions, is the OCCUD update, which has been lively from my understanding.
Well, you can use that term.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll go with that. So we had a meeting this morning at 10 a.m. Let me see. We got quite a few things here. Just as an update, there's been several appointments to the VCBB, which is one of those acronyms, Vermont Community Broadband Board. Governor Scott appointed Patty Richards and Dan Nelson to the VCBB. And then Holly Groschner, Groschner, has been appointed to the VCBB by the House. And Brian Otley, Otley, was appointed to the VCBB by the Senate. And then just today, our board VCUDA, we also have we voted to appoint Laura Sibilia, Sibilia. She's in the House of Representatives. She's an independent representing Windham and Bennington. From what I've seen, she'll be an excellent person representing VCUDA. Let's see. Just for information for anyone that's not familiar with the Vermont Community Broadband Board, their focus is on making broadband more affordable for Vermonters in all 14 counties and closing Vermont's digital divide. The VCBB will be responsible for awarding grants and assisting the CUDs in their planning, development, and implementation of broadband projects. The VCB will consist of 5 members. And again, I just told you 2 appointed by the governor, 1 by the House, 1 by the Senate, and 1 by the CUDA. Earlier on, we looked at a white paper, which I don't know if Amanda, if you saw or not. It's called Seizing the Moment, Scaling Up State Broadband Strategies, July 2021. So that's a long read, it's 31 pages. I read it, and it's mostly aimed at providing state leaders with a roadmap for rapidly scaling up their broadband strategy. So it's maybe not a read for everyone. Let's see. So today we voted on how we're going to meet, and there was a proposal at the last meeting that we continue doing it by Zoom. There were several objections based on transparency and the fact that we needed a physical location, basically like what we have at Otter Creek CUD. So I was able to vote the way I wanted, so I voted no on that. So now our meetings are going to be Zoom, plus we will have a physical location. Right now, that physical location is in Morrisville. That individual will do it a few more times, but is looking for other CUDs to pick it up and host a meeting so that it's all done there. The difficulty with that is you're getting back to your transparency issue where you're moving this around to other CUDs, and anyone that wants to attend, it makes it a little bit harder. I'm not sure anyone would attend because they can do it by Zoom. And there are others watching just looking for us to do something wrong, and I'm not sure who the others are, but that was brought up today. VCUDA is 1 year old, just had an anniversary last week, if anyone's interested. One of the interesting things that's caught my attention on this white paper is that in late 2022 or 2023, the Federal Communications Commission, that's the FCC, if you like acronyms, will likely run 2 additional broadband funding efforts using universal service funds dollars, totaling approximately $20 billion. So that's good news. And the interesting thing they said about this is there'll be competition this time. So states that have done the best job, that are ahead of the game, are likely to get more funding. And in contrast, states that are behind the ball will get less funding. So that puts a lot of pressure on the Vermont Community Broadband Board.
Yeah.
So also, you probably saw where Governor Scott appointed Christine Hallquist as executive director of the Vermont Community Broadband Board. Let me see if I missed anything. And at some point, I'll contact Bill when he comes back to see if it's possible to host in the future the meetings. We have 2 a month. And also, we have a job opening, and it's been posted for an interim program coordinator. And that's been advertised online in 7 days, a few other publications, and we'll be getting together some of our voting members on the CUDA, and there's 7 of us, to review resumes for that. So see if I missed anything. I don't think so.
Thank you, Larry, for
I
that.
think that's it. Yeah.
Anyone have any questions for Larry?
Oh, we had one more here. EC Fiber. They've engaged the services of a Washington, D.C. firm that are specialized on telecommunications, and they're going to help the CUDA with our RDOF. I'm sorry, I don't know what that means, but it's long-term filing, our new status as the eligible telecommunications carrier, which is an ETC, and getting set up to make the emergency broadband benefit, EBB, part of the federal program work for your district customers. Okay, I missed that one. That's a lot.
That they're referring to. And just so you know, we did have funding awarded for contract negotiations and public-private partnership development support, and we did name specifically CTC as the entity to provide that because of their uniqueness and experience in the field. We're going to try and make the case that we don't need to go through an RFP process for that, considering Deerfield Valley did do that, and they had absolutely no responses and required, I think it was like emergency support from CTC. Anyways, it was a situation, so we have precedents to refer to where CTC was the only consulting firm that was able to provide that experience. So they have been readily involved with other CUDs, as well as are one of the 2 companies behind Vermont's 10-year broadband deployment plan. And I'm probably calling it the wrong name. Thomas, you probably know the name of the document better than I do at this rate. If no one has any other questions, we can.
Yeah, one last thing, the Vermont Community Broadband Board, their first meeting is August 9th, 2021. So
Okay.
we've got a lot of work ahead of them. So I wish them luck.
August 9th. All right, that is good to know. Thank you.
Yep.
Next on the agenda was new member recruitment. I am currently, honestly, I haven't been reaching out to municipalities. I should probably make more of a concerted effort to connect with potentially Killington, Shrewsbury, or Clarendon. We had reached out multiple times to Clarendon. They haven't expressed interest in the CUD, which is unfortunate, but their prerogative. Shrewsbury, there had been some interest, but concerns about the loss of new tech going in, and as such, the loss of their copper lines. And that was still an area of clarification that I'm still seeking some guidance for. Otherwise, I don't have any other information on new member recruitment at this time. Other business. I personally do not have other business. I'm hoping to have a lot more for you. Right now, it's just a lot of juggling of parts to get things moving. Does anyone else have any other business? If you have questions about ARPA funds, for example, I know some municipalities are wondering if they can apply ARPA funds to internet build out. And I can give you our in-house specialist or contact for that, the RPC. I can field some questions, but we do have a single point of contact for everything ARPA. So if your towns do have any questions, please let us know. But also know, do not feel rushed to apply your ARPA funds in one particular area or overcommit them. They will come in installments, and you do have time to use them.
Amanda, one last question. Do you know if Killington is in the consolidated communication build out?
You mean part of the CUD or OCCI? I don't believe they are. I can check the website.
I mean, I kind of checked it for Mendon, and I didn't see Mendon, but
I didn't see Mendon either.
Monday, they were knocking on my door, getting ready to trim trees because fiber optics coming up through. So,
in which case, that's another example where I'd go to the CCI website, which I can resend out, even if you don't live in Rutland, and it's the closest municipality. Choose the closest municipality on that list and fill in your address. It's a pre-registration. I can't advise you as to whether or not that means you're committed to anything. I don't think it does. But it is a way for them to build a business case as to where there is demand.
Yeah.
But I could see them building out in portions of Mendon considering its borders.
Okay, thank you.
If no one else has any other business, the last item is really just to make sure you have a heads up on the next meeting, which we currently would have scheduled again for the third Wednesday of the month in August, which is August 18th. We'll be sending out info for that. Please always reach out if you have any questions. Here, if you need us or anything planning related on my end. And I'm not going to hold you hostage here unless I really have to. So if you're all amenable and we have consensus to, I guess, start the meeting, can I have consensus to then close the meeting?
Yes.
It appears we have,
moved.
thank you, Terry. Consensus. Thank you for attending. Chris, if you could stay on the line to make sure we stop recording and it's saved. Aside from Chris, you're all free to go. Just want to make sure the recording is saved.
Okay, thanks, Amanda.
Thank you, everyone. Bye. Chris, I just,
Thanks.
that, thank you, everyone. Bill had made you the host.
Oh, he did. No wonder why I've got the record thing here, so I can stop that now.
Yeah, so I'm assuming if you stop recording before we